Grant was screwed. He was just dropped off in a strange city with $100, a brand new identity, and no ability to contact any friends or family. It sounds like a witness protection program, but this was a real unique situation. Imagine if you were dropped off in a new city you've never been to before with a new identification and you cannot contact any of your old friends or family. And then you're given $100 and told to turn that into $1 million within 90 days. What would you do? Would you like to know what to do? Well, here's the thing. That is the exact situation that Grant Cardone found himself in 2022. He was already worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He shows people how to become wealthy. And many people thought, well, I appreciate your advice on how to become wealthy, Grant, but it wouldn't work for me because I don't have money to get started and it takes money to make money. Or some people said, all right, Grant, I like your programs, but it's not what you know, it's who you know, and I can't succeed like you did because I just don't have your network. These are some of the excuses that people came up with as to why Grant Cardone could succeed, but they could not. They were just excuses. So to eliminate those excuses, Discovery Channel came up with the idea of going to Grant and saying, what if you started over? What if you started with just $100 and you could not rely on any of your friends, your family, your network, your credit, anything? That's the premise of a show called The Undercover Billionaire. So how did Grant Cardone do when they dropped him off in Pueblo, Colorado with $100 and a new identity? Within 90 days, he created $5.5 million. Let that sink in. He started with $100 and 0 contacts and created $5.5 million in 90 days. The obvious question is, how did he do that? And I'm going to explain, but I'm going to start by going through some of the things that he did not do. Most importantly, he did not panic. Most people, when thrown into that situation, would have considered it impossible. In order to earn $1 million in 90 days, I'd have to earn $11,000 every day. To do that, I'd have to earn $1,000 an hour. That's how most people would think, but that's not how he thought. Second, he did not get a job. Most people think from an hourly basis or a weekly basis on how they get paid, and so how they think holds them back. They trade time for money. Since time is limited, so is the amount of money that they can make. Think about that. When you trade your time for money, your money is limited because your time is limited. The third thing, he did not beg for money. The first thing he did was identify in the city who did or did not have money. He was not going to make $1 million in 90 days by hanging out with the people who were low or middle income. He had to find the money and hang out with it. He did not think about how to make money that day. Most people would focus on how to make money that day or the next day, which limits them to hourly jobs or similar jobs. He thought about how to have $1 million by the end of 90 days, regardless of how much he made the first 89 days. He did not rent a house or apartment. His new identity might have made that a challenge because it was a made-up identity with no background. But instead, he provided house-sitting services. Without spending any money, he had a nice place to live for free. So why am I sharing all the things that he did not do? Because the single biggest reason he succeeded is because of how he thinks. He did not think like most other people would have. They would have begged, they would have tried to get an hourly job, and they would have tried to rent a cheap apartment and so on. This is mindset. This is why I spend so much time trying to persuade people that they need to think differently about money. There are 2 parts to this. The first part is what you know. And I can guarantee that Grant Cardone knows way more than the average person about money. But much of what he learned can be learned by others as well, including you. Increasing what you know just requires a dedication to becoming a student of money. The other part of mindset is how you think. And this is the part that really sets Grant Cardone apart from most people. Changing how you think is even harder than changing what you know. Where you are right now financially, no matter how good or how bad, is the result of the financial decisions you have made throughout your life. Those decisions were all made based on what you know and how you think. The only way to greatly change your financial situation is to gain additional knowledge and learn to think differently about money. So, back to Grant Cardone. How did he create money? As I've said many times, every billionaire in America made their money in one of two ways: real estate or business ownership. Grant utilized the business industry. He found ways to add value to a local business in exchange for some equity in that business. What does that mean? Any business that is set up properly can be sold. To be sold, it has a value. The value of the business is based on the expected future profits. That's how stocks are priced, based on the expected future profits. For example, let's say a business is worth $10 million based on its current profits, and these profits are $1 million a year. If you can make changes that increase the annual profit from 1 million to 1.3 million, you increase the value of the business from 10 million to 13 million. Grant knew that if he could increase the expected future profits of a business, he could increase its value. He found a business owner willing to give him a chance to prove he could add value to the business and give him equity in part of that additional value that he added. He was able to increase expected future profits by making a huge difference with marketing and sales. The business sold more, its value increased, and he got a share of the additional business valuation. So what are the three key takeaways from this story? First, add value. The more value a business adds to prospects, the easier it is to convert those to customers. The more value a business adds to its customers, the easier it is to retain those customers and get referrals. The more value an employee adds to his or her employer, the more money the employee can command. Always look to add value. Second, always be learning about money. Regardless of your career, you need to know about personal budgeting, investing, and economics. The more you know, the better your decisions will be about money. And third, think differently. Do not think of trading your time for money. Do not think of investing like everyone else. Honestly, if you find yourself following the normal financial crowd, there's a good chance you're probably heading down the wrong path. If you'd like to learn more about money and how to think differently, please go to unbrokeninvesting.com and join our community. I cannot promise you'll turn $100 into $5.5 million in 90 days like Grant Cardone did, but you can learn to create money faster than the normal broken way of investing.